Hey, peace and blessings to your family. I hope you're doing well. This is Ronald Zion coming to you live and direct. Um, Shame Free Life is in effect. And thank you so much, Shame Free Life Nation. I hope that you and your family are doing well from coast to coast around the globe. Let's get into it and let's talk. It's a beautiful Saturday morning. I hope that your Saturday morning is wonderful as well. And I just want to have just a real conversation with you. We talk about a lot on this channel, and hopefully this channel was a blessing to you and yours. And if you haven't already, if you are not a subscriber, just do me three favors if you can. Not asking for $1,000, not asking for a $10,000 seed offering or none of that. If you want to give that, then praise Yah. But I'm not asking for that. But I am asking for three things. Number one, like this video. Number two, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. And thirdly, if this is a blessing to you, then share it with someone else. Don't keep it to yourself. Why keep a blessing to yourself? It's definitely blessing me. I'm sharing it with you. So this is what it's about, the shame-free life movement and helping those live a shame-free life apart from trauma. So let's get into it. The Sha Carri Richardson story has really been on my mind lately, but definitely this morning. And I just want to jump into it. I know a lot of people, a lot of talking heads are giving their standpoint, their viewpoints, their opinions on the Sha Carri Richardson situation. A lot of people are taking it to social media and they're voicing their opinions. And a lot of it is a lot of familiar rhetoric that we hear recycled over and over and over again. I'm seeing and I'm hearing, what a shame. She should have known better than that. Why in the world would you get to this particular place and just blow it? Just shame on you. Again, shame. And we're trying to live the shame-free life, and we're going to address that. And so there's a lot of discussions of indictment. There's a lot of, not as it relates to indicting her for a crime, but just indicting her personality, indicting her lack of ownership of the moment, just indicting her as a young woman. Now, mind you, she is a woman, but she is a young woman. So there is a place of maturation that's got to take place in her life and in our own lives. And we're going to talk about that as well. I won't be before you long, but I want to hit certain bullet points as it relates to Sha Carri Richardson. So the title of this, is there a Sha Carri in you as well as myself? Is there a Sha Carri in us? Is there a Sha Carri in you? Sha Carri Richardson, unfortunately, if you haven't, if you're not privy to know what's going on, she doing a routine drug test in which they randomly do in sports, specifically track and field. She came back positive. Her test came back positive for marijuana. So in return, she was suspended for 30 days, which will have a residual effect in her track life as a runner, because now she is disqualified for the Olympics in Tokyo. We know that, in my opinion, she's the fastest outside of Jamaica. They definitely have a representation there. At speed, they always have. And so you have two front runners. You have Sha Carri Richardson, and also, and her name escapes me, and I do apologize, but the 100-meter runner that they have, sprinter in Jamaica, and she is definitely all that. Well, Sha Carri is as well. And so this was going to be the great showdown. And a lot of people were actually betting on, not literally, but just betting as it relates to their hope and their prognostication that Sha Carri would be the victor when it came down to these two young ladies squaring off on the track field. So unfortunately, she will not be there. And there have been a lot of people that have come out in a fashion of of basically just raking her through the coals, so to speak. And how could she have done this? And I want to speak about that from two vantage points, if you will. I want to speak about, first of all, when we look at Sha Carri Richardson in her life, of course, she found out about the passing of her mother, the death of her mother, and how devastating that was. And from the conversation, it sounds like that that the relationship was kind of estranged. It was on the rocks. And so she has to deal with the reality of, now you have lost your mother, and you only have one mother, just as well as you only have one father. But for the sake of this discussion, she lost her mother. Now she has to deal with the trauma of losing her mother, the loss and the grief of losing her mother. Now you couple that with, if the relationship was not solidified, if it was on the rocks, so to speak, now you have to deal with the grief that things were not on the up and up. I wish that I would have spoken to her more. I wish that our relationship was much better. I wish that I would have said, I'm sorry. I wish that I would have allowed her to say that she was sorry and let her off the hook. I wish that I wish that our relationship was so much better. So now she has to deal with the reality of the grief that's now compounded in her life. Not to mention, aside from the death, the transition of her mother, other losses that it may have taken place in her life. She's now center stage in a sports field where all eyes are literally on you, not just all eyes watching you sprint down the track field and glued to the television, but now all corporate eyes are on you, because now you are basically you're a cash cow. So, but also to your benefit. So now you have the attention of Adidas. You have the attention of Nike. You have the attention of Puma. You have the attention of Reebok, Gatorade, so on and so forth. So now you have the attention of marketers that now see the value in you because of not just your speed, but your flamboyancy, how you wear your hair and the various colors that you dye your hair and your fingernails, and how free spirited you are, and how much of a joy that you seem to be, how much of a role model you are as it relates to the youth that now can pattern their life, that are in track and field after you, and how much you have overcome in your life to get to this point in life now to be on the center stage of the entire world. That's a lot of pressure. That is a lot of stress. We're going to talk about that before I get off into my second point. The pressure and the stress. Now, I just want to make a disclaimer, not that I have to, but I'm just going to. I am in no way, shape, or form endorsing, justifying, and condoning drugs. Now, since that's off the table and that is completely understood because I said it, the pressure and stress upon anyone, specifically when we're talking about a young lady who was in her early 20s, not even 25, in her early 20s. It was only a couple of years ago that this young woman, Sha Carri Richardson, was in a high school in Dallas, and now find herself, I believe it was Dallas Carter, now find herself center stage, the attention of the entire globe, all eyes on her. How much of that pressure that she feels because of the handlers that are around her, her own peers, the coaches, etc. How much of that stress and pressure that we are guilty of as Black people. Now we're getting ready to start cooking with some gas. I understand when it comes to Black people in America of how important it is to have a proper representation amongst other nations, primarily white people. There is a pressure that is upon us like none other that we place on ourselves, that white society, that Latinos, that Asians, that Samoans, that humpbacks, that or anyone else don't place on us, but we place it on ourselves. That's a lot of stress. That's a lot of pressure. What kind of pressure am I talking about? I'm talking about the pressure that have always been said amongst us in our community. Well, if white people are good, then you got to be better. You got to be twice as good as them. Now, that kind of mentality and ideology stems from the very plantations that our people found themselves being thrusted on. And so once we were so-called emancipated, once we were so-called freed from slavery, yet it has only been morphed into other institutions, but that's another subject for another day, another time. We now have, when we found ourselves now, won the battle, the fight to be integrated. Now I can sit down beside you at the diner. Now I can shop at Victoria's Secrets and Macy's with you. Now I can work alongside you at Merrill Lynch or any other type of company or institution. I've won. Now I can, but now I've got to win you over. Now I've got to win myself in your life to be seen as being non-threatening. With that kind of weight and pressure that's been passed down for generations to generations, it no longer becomes trying to now associate with you. Now I have to assimilate, meaning that now I have to give up who I am to become something that I'm not, which is you. I now begin to now discount who I am to become more like you in hopes that you will accept me. I don't see the value in myself. I don't see the high intelligentsia that I possess. I don't see the creativity and the spirituality that is in my DNA structure. I only see my wretchedness. I only see my ugliness. I only see my inadequacy and inferiority, but I see the supremacy. I see the superiority. I see the beauty. I see the awesomeness in you, but I don't see it in myself. So therefore, I don't like who I am. In many regards, we hate who we are. So now I will forfeit who I am, talking about Black folks, to become something that I'm not, to become you. And my mission, though I may not say it, I may not speak it, I may not utter it, but my mission is to be accepted by you, to be loved by you, to be adorned by you. My mission is inherently to become you. Though I say that I'm comfortable in my Black skin, though I say I'm Black and I'm proud, all of that kind of jargon. But in our psyche and in our heart, it betrays us, because our psyche and our heart speaks a different language, and that is to become like one that I can never become like the European or like any other nation. So this is the fast track that we find ourselves on. And then we've been on this track forever and a day since for over 500 years. Unfortunately, for many of us, that has been our ideology. So that kind of focus and rhetoric as it relates to having to place so much pressure on one another. You're the first doctor, or you're the first attorney, or you're the first in track and field. You're the first to go pro, go to the NBA, or go to the NFL, or you're the first to do this. You got to be better. You got to show them. You got to make us proud. You got to show them. Why do we have to show anybody anything? Why can't you be comfortable in your own skin? Why can we not be comfortable in the fact that I'm going to do things right? And as a human being, and since human error is a reality, I'm going to do some things that are going to be wrong. And there's got to be a margin of error that is that is applicable. There's got to be a margin of error that is a reality in our own lives. That just as white people, Hispanic, Asians, you name the nationality, men, women, children, everyone will make mistakes. We have to understand that we're going to make mistakes as well. We put a lot of pressure on one another. So how much of that as a community are we guilty of concerning placing this amount of pressure onto Sha Carri to now be the poster child of Black people everywhere? And there's no room for error. There's no margin for error. You've got to be perfect in all your ways. Why? Because you got to represent us. We got to be loved. We got to show them that we are perfect, that we are flawless, that we are a people that don't make any kind of indiscretions, that don't make any kind of mistakes, that we are completely flawless. We have no imperfections whatsoever in our walk. You've got to show them that we're the opposite of what they may see on CNN and MSNBC and Fox News, that we're not murderers and robbers and pillagers and all that. No, we're the opposite. We've got to be loved by folk. We've got to be loved by them. So she's smoking weed. Possibly, because of the things that I've just mentioned, the things that are unuttered that we don't know anything about, what type of traumas that we don't know about, aside from the passing, the death of a mother, and the relationship not being as it could have been in her eyes, and the escapism that she needs because of the pressure and, the endorsements, and I got to do this and I got to do that, and all of the pressure that we place on her as a community. Yet we call ourselves a village. And many of the ones in the village are the ones are saying, crucify her. Shame on you. You ought to know better. You're just stupid. Why did you blow it like this? What would you do if you were in her place? What kind of decisions will you make? Or better yet, just like the Capital One commercial, what's in your wallet, but what's in your closet? That if it got out, what would your pastor say? What pastor? If things get out of your closet, what would you say? We're going to talk about this in a minute. So we have Sha Carri, a young woman who is walking out and working out her own maturation as it relates to her emotional state, her psychological state, her biological state, her spiritual state, her relational state, those who are around her. How many people were around her that were in her ear? Hey, listen, you've been, spoken that we want you to chill on that because listen, right now is not the time. I need you to cut that out. We need to clean your system. Clean your system out. Let's talk about it. What's going on with you? What's going on with you? I care about you. I want to know what's on your mind. Let's just take a walk. Come on. Let's go out to eat. It's on me. I just want to talk to you. I want to be your checks and balances. I want to be your accountability partner. I want to be that person that you can count on in the clutch that got your back. I'm not riding you or not. I'm not riding with you and I'm not down with you because of what I can get because of the endorsement deals. I'm riding with you, girl, because I believe in you. And I don't want to see you blow nothing. How many of those people did she have around her? Well, a person may say, well, she probably had those around her, but she didn't listen. Well, how do we know that? We don't know that. My last point, or second to the last point, all these church folk, all these people that are speaking in tongues, running around a church and flipping and flopping and preaching and spitting and tuning. God said, and you ought to be ashamed of yourself and and the sin in your life and all of that. The word of Yah says that in Ephesians 2:8, for by grace are you saved through faith, not of yourselves, but it's the gift of the Most High. For by grace are you saved through faith in the Messiah, not of yourself, not anything that you have done, because there is nothing that we have done or will ever do that will qualify us to receive the grace and the love of the Most High, Yah. But because of who he is, because of his nature, because of the holistic reality of who he is in its entirety, he gives us the very precious part of us, which is his grace, which is his love, which we are to extend to others. It is amazing to me, the very people that are self-righteous in all their ways. But if the Lord pulled up your skirt to see the filthiness of your drawers before the world, oh, you'll be crying out for mercy. So the question is rhetorical. Is there Sha Carri in you? Yes. Yes. Because I understand and I know about the mercy and the grace of the Most High Yah when I don't deserve it. I'm not talking about when I was just a rank sinner, just out there, just living it up. No, I'm talking about when I received him as Yah. And still, because of trauma, unresolved issues, because of post-traumatic trauma, because of anxiety disorders, because of all manner of losses and injuries that perpetuated a grief, I just went back and started serving the devil after I had said, yes, I will make you my Lord and Savior, Jesus Yeshua. I didn't deserve God's or Yah's grace. I didn't deserve it then, but he gave it to me, as well as he gave it to many of you all. There are many of you that it's a wonder that you're still living and breathing right now, that you're still inhaling and exhaling. The disease didn't take you out. The car accident didn't take you out. You on that motorcycle just balling out of control and flipped over, broke many bones in your body, but you're still here. That marriage, that failed marriage didn't take you out. You attempting suicide didn't take you out. Prison didn't take you out. Your children breaking your heart didn't take you out. The multiple deaths and the multiple funerals that you had to oversee, that you had to participate in, didn't take you out. Depression didn't take you out, but you're still here, which is an act of the grace of the Most High Yah in your life. Why can we not extend the same grace to our sister? Why is it that we yell crucify to her rather than we receive you? Because what we don't want to happen is the shame of what has happened to you will now latch hold to your mind, and you begin to spiral down to a place of, now, instead of smoking weed, now you snorting lines. Instead of smoking weed, now you doing meth. Instead of smoking weed, now you injecting heroin. Now is a time to surround her with the loving arms of grace that surrounded us when we were in a fallen state, when we were in a broken state, when we were in a wayward state, when we were in a traumatic state. But oftentimes we don't do it. We forget where we come from. We forget that the very grace that was extended to us, the very loving kindness that was afforded to us, the very healing power of the Most High that was extended to us, we don't reciprocate that to those around us, primarily those who look like us. And it's a shame and an indictment that T.I., Snoop, and others who I never heard profess hope in Yah, followers of Yeshua, Jesus. But the people of the world can come to Sha Carri's aid. The people of the world can speak life into her. The people of the world can extend grace to this sister. While those who profess and hope in Christ, Bible quoting and Bible toting, are running this girl down, talking about her sins. She ought to be better than this. The world, once again, my God in heaven, the world is indicting the church. Church folk. What an indictment that those who ain't got the Holy Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh, those who are not following Yeshua and his great commission, are doing that which we too lazy and low down to do. See, this is the reason why many people remain in their places of trauma and in their ditches of depression and shackles of shame. Because it was the word that Yeshua showed us of the Good Samaritan, a man who was robbed and beat in his head. I mean, he was robbed of peace, robbed of joy, robbed of identity, robbed of purpose, and beat down. He was beat down by life, beat down by the systems, beat down by family, just beat down by life, and thrown in a ditch to die. And the Levite passed by. Look at him in that condition. He just making us look bad as a people. I mean, you just making us look bad as black folk. And I ain't got time for that. Do something for yourself. Then came someone else, a priest, looked at him. You just a sinner. You need Christ in your life. You need to get yourself together. And just walked on by, stepped over. Excuse me, I'm on my way to church. Excuse me, I'm on my way to Bible study. Excuse me, I'm on my way to foot washing, so I can participate in a practice without the power of Yah on the inside to transform my thinking. But long along came the Good Samaritan. And the Good Samaritan didn't just look on him and condemn him. The Good Samaritan didn't just wave his finger in the face of the one who was beat down and robbed. But the Good Samaritan had compassion on the one who was robbed and beaten, took him and placed him upon his beast, took him to the inn, said, listen, I want you to take care of this one that's wounded, this one that's broken, this one that's traumatized, this one that has fallen in addiction. I want you to make sure that they are delivered and set free. I will pay for everything because that's my duty as a child of the Most High Yah. But once again, the church is indicting, the world is indicting the church, the institution. We ought to be ashamed of ourselves, of allowing infidels, those who don't have any hope in Christ, to do a greater work of Christ. Shame on us. Finally, let me name some names. I'm going to say this, and I definitely will be out your way. Like, subscribe, share. Is there a Sha Carri in you? This is what we're talking about. The Shame Free Life Network. Former Governor Jeb Bush, Oliver Stone, Johnny Depp, Phil Jackson. Remember Phil Jackson? Well, of course, Oliver Stone, the award-winning producer and director. Johnny Depp, the award-winning actor. Phil Jackson, for all y'all Chicago Bull fans, you should know him. He was the savior or the messiah of that particular organization, the Chicago Bulls. Sarah Palin, how many know Sarah Palin, who was the running mate of John McCain, the governor of Alaska? How about Maya Angelou, the award-winning poet, writer, profound activist, who says that, it's still I rise, one of her most powerful poems. How about Matt Damon? Matt Damon, the award-winning actor, powerful actor. Conan O'Brien on his nightly show, and comedian. How about Martha Stewart? Everybody knows Martha Stewart, entrepreneur, multi-millionaire, doing a lot of things in a lot of sectors, as well as contracts with Home Depot. Martha Stewart. Morgan Freeman, another award-winning actor. David Letterman. Of course, you remember The Tonight Show with David Letterman. How about Jennifer Aniston, another actress, high-power A-list actress? How about Tom Brokaw? You probably remember him from the nightly news. Tom Brokaw, award-winning anchorman. How about Michael Phelps? Michael Phelps, you remember him, the famous swimmer from the Olympics, made many appearances. Ted Turner. Ted Turner was the founder of CNN. George Clooney, another A-list actor. How about Michael Bloomberg? Of course, the multi-millionaire Michael Bloomberg. Bill Gates. Of course, unless you've been on another planet, you should be aware of Bill Gates. George W. Bush, the former president. No need for introduction. John Kerry ran for president, of course, senator. Bill Clinton, don't need an introduction for him. As a matter of fact, more black people were locked up during the Clinton administration than both Reagan and Bush combined, but I digress. Oprah Winfrey, you should already know who Oprah Winfrey is. Barack Obama, he doesn't need an introduction at all. And Clarence Thomas. These names you can find, and let me give you a a reference, go to HuffPost.com. The individuals that you just heard and many others that I did not name, countless of others, because we don't have the time to name everyone. From actors and entertainers to sports icons, to coaches, to Supreme Court justices, and former presidents. All of these individuals smoked weed. All of these individuals have testified to one point in their life that they smoked marijuana. And we're acting like this woman did a line of coke. Not excusing anything. I've already said that in the beginning, and I'm not revisiting that. We act like this woman smoked a line of coke. We act like this woman had a crack pipe in her mouth. We act like this woman was smoking some angel dust or shooting up some heroin. All of these individuals said, hey, listen, at one time in my life, I too was Sha Carri Richardson. At one time in my life, I was blazing weed like Sha Carri Richardson. So what's wrong with us, church folk? Again, living a shame-free life is unshackling those who are bound by the chains of shame. Living a shame-free life is not justifying or rationalizing anything, but understanding that you too can identify, because you may not have done what another person have done, but perhaps I've done something that's worse. Perhaps I was blamed for something that was worse. Perhaps in my own ignorance, I did something that was worse or comparable to what you did, or where you are, I was there. So let me show you a more excellent way by surrounding you with the grace, with the compassion, with the concern that was given to me. Each one, teach one. And this is the gospel of Yeshua. Thank you so much for joining me. Again, if you haven't already, like this video. Subscribe to the station if you haven't already. Subscribe to this channel. But also share this with someone else, because our youth, they need to know that, listen, yes, you made a mistake. I made plenty of them, more mistakes than I can count. But your mistake does not define who you are. Your mistake does not redefine who you are. Only you can do that. And so now you have it within you now to now use this as a platform of power, to use this mistake, to use this indiscretion, to use this sin, to use this whatever it is that's negative in your life, to now use it as fuel to now get up out of this place, now to journey into your purpose, to journey into your destiny, because as long as you have life in your body and oxygen, there is still hope. There is still hope. As long as you're living and breathing, there is still hope. It is not over until you say it's over. And as we say on the Shame Free Life Network, your life begins, or your life will end. But for the sake of Sha Carri Richardson, is there Sha Carri in you? Yes, a resounding yes. Your life begins again when you say so. Peace and blessings, family. Love you to life. Check us out. The awesome things that we're doing and how we're helping others to rebuild their lives one brick at a time, stress-free, trauma-free, and shame-free at www.theshamefreelife.com. Hit me up on the email. Send me your thoughts, whatever it is that you're going through. Hit me up on the email. And also, if you like the one-on-one, if you like to do a discovery call, if you like for someone to help you walk out your healing, as we are all walking out our healing, Yes, I am my brother and sister's keeper. And that's what we're supposed to do, because that is the word and that is the Great Commission. Hit me up, theshamefreelife.com. Until next time, peace and blessings to your family. Let's go get this.